You are now in the realm of enlightenment and transformation.
Welcome to Chief Speaks.
So that's one of the reasons I don't get into the current events thing too much, because it starts to become a perpetual alarm clock that we just keep hitting snooze on. I speak to the ascended masters, quote unquote. I talk about spiritual stuff, but I also speak about some very practical, we can do today things.
Be as natural as you can be with your spiritual self.
I love you so much because you just don't know what you've just done to me. Thank you so much.
Wow. This is like the best call I've had in ages on BTR. Beautiful. Oh my God, I just love you.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. I'd love you even more if I knew you personally. But I love you radio, blog talk radio style.
I also wanted to say I really appreciate you sharing your information in a way that's not imposing on people. It also gives everyone a chance to really do their own work as well and grow from it. So I just wanted to tell you thank you, and I just hope you continue with this work.
I give thanks, man. Thank you so much for the information and the knowledge that you're, just giving us, man. It's needed, and I'm in my life. I'm so grateful.
347-945-7680. Call in and let's build.
Peace, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Chief Speaks again. I am one of your co-hosts, Kim, and she will join us in just a few. Hang on just a second. I can hear myself echoing. Okay, there we go. Yeah, welcome back to Chief Speaks. I feel like I've been off the show for a while. Last strong, we had the guest, the magic of essential oils. So I just kind of feel, let me get my bearings back. Welcome again to Chief Speaks. The number to call in if you have a question or a comment, or if you just want to share something, is 347-945-7680. And I'm just going to do like a quick recap of last strong shows in case you missed them. Remember, you can always go to Enlightenment and Transformation TV to check out all of our shows for the strong and some old ones if you missed it. But before we get into that, let's take a quick call. I see like there's some hands up already, so that's always a good thing. Everybody's up and awake and alert. So let's peace. We
can't hear you at all. If you can hear me, we can't hear you at all.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's see what's going on here.
We can't hear you at all, nothing at all.
Okay. I don't know.
Can anyone hear me? Can you hear me? No?
I can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me, but you couldn't hear Sister Kim. Okay.
No, I can hear you right now. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, brother. We just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, we'll straighten it out. Thank you. And we'll come back. All right. Peace. All right, cool. So I guess I'll get us started. And then after that, one second. I'll get us started. And then after that, Sister Kim will come back in and bring us back in with the actual, recaps and everything like that. So just give us a moment on that. So I'll give my little slight recap. I know my recaps are never as good as what the sisters do, because why? Because I never remember the titles of the shows that I do or anyone does. But bear with me. We all have our specialties and we all have our weaknesses. So yeah, so this strong, we talked about a couple of things. One of which being one show is entitled "A House Is Not a Home." And what we dealt with in that segment was viewing and perceiving the home as the foundating structure of the mind, so and viewing the mind as a representation of how you're building your home. So that was one of the things that we had covered. And just in terms of looking at a lot of times in our dream interpretations or our desire to seek out better understandings of different symbology, sometimes we see reoccurring symbols that are always coming forth. And one of which that you'll find that is very common. Of course, you see it a lot of times when people call into the shows and whatnot. They'll say, I was in a house, or I was going into a house or coming out of a house. So we did a little breakdown on some of that and what that actually means and what that represents in terms of symbol form, just viewing those homes, okay, or the idea of a home. And then also, I think we have Sister Kim back. So, Sister Kim, you there?
I'm here.
All right, cool. So I'm going to let you do your thing. Okay. They're tired of listening to me. All right.
Okay, so again, I was just speaking about some of the shows from last Strong in case you missed them. Again, you can go to Enlightenment and Transformation TV on our YouTube channel to check those out. On Monday, Sister Felicia spoke on inner wisdom in business and how to, she actually shared something that came up in a reading for someone. She was using the animal cards, and she spoke about a particular card that came up, and it spoke to knowing how to listen to that little voice that usually nudges us sometimes that we kind of ignore a lot of times. So how to incorporate just inner wisdom and not surrendering that to someone else. Like, say, for instance, if you get a reading or something, I think, Chief, you do this a lot where you'll say, well, what does it mean to you? Or
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to take someone's power away when interpreting their dreams or whatever. So it spoke about inner wisdom. On Wednesday, I spoke on chaos magic on Anu Asafo. And I used an example from a caller that called in to, I think it was Chief Speaks, like the week before. And he just had some questions about chaos magic and different types of magic and what chaos magic means. So I went over a little quick little history of what chaos magic is and how you broke that call down. And it really spoke to feminine magic, or just kind of doing your own thing, not necessarily trying to follow a specific recipe for rituals or a certain type of magic. Sometimes we can kind of blend or mix different things, and you do what works, not necessarily, because what may work for one person may not work for the next. And so sometimes we don't trust ourselves enough to just go again with our own inner wisdom and do what works instead of, and we just kind of get into some strange spiritual tradition or something that we don't have much knowledge on, and we think it's like a step 1, step 2, step 3 kind of process, and it's not. Thunderground Thursday, if you missed it, Chief, you spoke about, let me see if I remember correctly, I just had it in my head. This new moon energy, and how you gave us some insight on Oya and what Oya does, and you were just speaking about how this new moon energy was kind of stripping away certain things, but not necessarily stripping them away to completely destroy them, but it's just switching some things around. It'll this energy like picks up things and it just rearranges some things in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So you spoke on that, and then on Foundational Friday. You spoke on, the title of the show was "A House Is Not a Home." So you gave us some examples of if you're having dreams about a house or something in your dream, how that house represents what's going on in our lives and how different rooms of the house correspond to different areas of our life. And that was a really, really interesting show for me. So that may be one everybody needs to go back and listen to, and maybe take some notes, because I know we've all had dreams about staying in a house or some type of house a lot. I know I have often. So that was a really good show that just spoke on, like when you were saying, like when we say we need to get our house in order, that really means we need to get our life together. So how do different rooms in the house, or us, moving from different rooms in the house and our dreams correlate to things that are going on in our lives? So that was a really good show as well.
All right, beautiful.
And that was last strong show.
That was our ANU Enlightenment and Transformation recap. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah, so we covered some good ground this strong. Like you guys know, I've been doing the shows live on Thursday and Friday for like maybe it's been almost a month now. I don't know, because I'm me with the time. It could have been 2 weeks, could have been 3 weeks. I think it's been a month, but it's been a good experience just connecting, because it's different people who call in the evenings than who call on Sunday dawnings, based on sometimes time code differences, or just whatever, you don't feel like waking up. Understandable. So it's been real interesting and real fun just being able to connect with different family members of the Enlightenment and Transformation crew during those Thursday and Friday segments. And what's interesting is a couple things that's kind of going on. It's kind of interesting. You know what? And actually, because the brother helped us out earlier, I see his hand is still up, and I don't know if that's a mistake, but I'm gonna pull his call real quick. 615, you're on Chief Speaks, brother. Yeah, brother. Did you actually have a question?
Yeah.
Or you were just helping out? Oh, okay. Sure. What's going on? I'll give you preferential because you helped out.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to say, peace and blessings for everything that, this past week, you really laid it down. You called a lot of people to task this week. There's no more excuses. Like, if you ain't where you need to be, or in the process, there's no excuses.
No.
But I was wanting to see your opinion on something that happened to me this weekend again.
Okay.
All right. Now, you gave us some heavy information on Oya, and I went and did some homework on her. And it's not a lot about Oya because people really do fear her, but I feel that she's misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a situation. Friday where we was at work, and it was an incident at work, a fight or whatever. And we put the individuals out, and like the individual I was working with, who was doing security, he got a little hot-headed.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's wife was, how women antagonize when they get to see their old man get beat up or whatever.
Yeah.
So we done already handled him. And she's mad because, Black Lives Matter, and she just worked up just seeing him, get exercise because he actually was wrong. He was fighting. So I'm being level head, explaining to everyone, look, your boy wrong. Just walk and talk with me and it'll be cool. So I'm escorting them out, and he going back and forth with her. So it just got to the point where, okay, this is not safe anymore. I'm gonna just call the police and let them listen to how reckless she's talking. So make a long story short, they end up getting into it, and he ends up attacking her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm holding him back from like, bro, look, you can't do this to no woman, although she just kicked you. You can't do this. He was like, man, just let me do what I do. Let me do what I do. I was like, no, you can't do it because they recording you. Like, you being recorded.
Right.
You can't pummel this man's wife while she is in his arms.
Yeah.
So make a long story short, I kept him from, I kept him from really just, injuring this woman in the process of injuring her man. So pretty much he was like, well, I don't ever want you working with me again because I let you do your thing. I'm like, bro, like, first of all, I'm not attacking a couple. Second of all, I don't do that to women. I'm just not a woman striker. I don't care what she does.
Mm-hmm.
So when you made that point about Oya, suppressing power, and I remember it was something that you told me in a reading about, okay, it's time for you to stop doing that Ogun work.
Mm-hmm.
I think after that situation, I was like, wow, that's her. Because that was direct. Because that's the third time in a row a person was like, I don't want to be bothered with you at all. And I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So the question I have for you, the question I have for you, brother, is what are ways to invoke and work with the Oya energy, because I know the bullhorn is a good way, but until I can order or get a hold to a bullhorn subconsciously, what are ways that I can work with her?
Right. Okay, cool. Good question. Well, first, Oya supplants power. So meaning she moves it around, not necessarily suppression of it. Shango does that. Shango suppresses energy. Ooh, I'm sorry about that loud notification. Let me fix that. But Shango suppresses power and suppresses energy, but it's Oya who actually moves it from spot to spot. You know, so like somebody may get this brother's job now, you know, because he's acting up, you know, things like that. Now, in terms of working with Oya, there's a lot of ways, because Oya is like, man, Oya is so complex. For me, like when I'm answering questions,
so complex that she's simple almost.
It can be very simple, you know, it could be very simple, and then it could be so multi-layered. It's simple when you want to work with her, but when you want to start talking to her, it gets real confusing real quick because, you know, she represents so many different things, and depending on the form she comes in, she's going to be two different things. Okay, so let's start here. The energy of compassion is Oya. Compassion itself, which is the transmission of emotion, because you got to remember, a lot of times we associate, I mean, Oya is a water energy, though she has affiliations with air, but a lot of times when we think about Oya, we think about the multicolors. You know, some will say the 9 colors or the colors of the rainbow, whatever. But either way, we know there's a multicolor thing going on there with Oya. And what that multicolor represents is that bridge, the rainbow bridge taking you from here to there. And it's the bridge going between your chakra points. Now, your chakras are just your emotional centers. Okay, so they're spiritual centers, but they're mainly dealing with your emotions. So like how the woman was women and him, because they were both obviously highly charged. That her ability to transfer her craziness to this man's craziness, because obviously he had to be in him already. Because for one, if he's saying, "Let me do what I do," then what you do. Your normal thing is, you know, you beat up on females or whatever, or you just don't see a difference.
That bothers me. Well, no, you're right, but that's what I noticed about him, because I'm in my mind, like I'm 6'2", like 255. You know, if I was to hit a woman hard enough, 9 times out of 10, I will knock her clean out. So for him to say that is almost like you really don't. You are so she is getting you so worked up that your energy is focused on her more so than him. Because I'm the type of person, if your old lady just keep talking so sideways about what she gonna come back and do or whatever, I'm gonna knock your wisdom teeth out and let her call the ambulance for you, because that's more demoralizing to her than me fighting her. Because now if if the laws get involved, you just struck a woman while she was being detained by her own old man. So when he did that, I was like, he's really finna try to fight this woman, and it's not going to end pretty for either one of them, because he's going to brutalize her and he's going to look bad. So when you said compassion, I was like, I don't want nobody to look bad, but you know, you can only do so much when you, like you said, you in a position of, you know, I guess a lieutenant with a sergeant, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it's just different ways to look at that. I mean, I wouldn't have let her kick me. You know, I would have definitely given her the slow choke. You know, I may not have punched her in the face, but she's getting the slow choke. She's going to sleep. You can't kick me. You can't put your hands on me.
But the thing about exactly, but this is the thing though. You wouldn't have gotten that close for her to do that.
No,
because he was antagonizing her.
Well, here's the thing. Let's look at it like this, right? Because we got to look at it from a cultural perspective. We can't live like savages and then try to sprinkle in our African traditions to say, well, you know, well, we do this. Well, what are they even doing in the club to begin with? Let's start there.
Right.
Because once you're in that environment, you know, there's all kind of foolishness and debauchery that happens. You're drunk and you're in a club. I mean, that by itself, just the name club, you know what I mean? Yeah, take the club, beat her over the head and drag her home, because that's where you go to pick up women, right? You know, so the entire environment is not for women, first of all. You know, so anybody who's up in there, and then she's up in there with her man. I mean, I'm not even calling these two men and women really, because he's acting stupid. First of all, let's get to the genesis of it. You know, so we got two ignorant people.
Yeah.
He's acting stupid. He had to be removed instead of just saying, because no matter how much you beef and riff, you're not getting back in anyway. So what's the point in all this extra stuff now? And on top of that, not only you not getting back in, number one, number two, we're a team. There may be 3 or 4 people at the club that night working or more. So, and it's just you and your lady. If anything, he should have said, all right, let me take her home and I'll come back with my crew after hours. And and I've bounced in clubs before, you know,
like men.
Yeah. And well, I hate that. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped bouncing, because of those type of stupid situations, because you would be there and somebody would start a fight. And I used to bounce at a club out here in New York called The Tunnel years ago. And that was like a real wild club. And sometimes people would start fights, like the bouncers would start fights unnecessarily. And you know how it is. Once that happens, you got to jump in whether that person was right or not. And me, I couldn't, I had enough of that. I said, nah, if you start in the fight, why do I have to now be wrestling and tussling with people on the ground because of something stupid you did? So, you know, the thing is, I know how you feel about not hitting a woman, but that wasn't a woman, man. That wasn't a woman, you know? So see, that's one of the issues a lot of times. And I've been in that situation before where I've had to talk to men and say, listen, you know, I don't want to go there with you. You know, could you calm your lady down? You know, because this is getting a little stupid. This is getting ignorant. And you know what happens next. And I don't even have a problem with you, but she's gonna look at you at some point like, what are you gonna do? You know, and now you and I are gonna be in a situation for something that's completely unnecessary. So I mean, there's so much wrong with this scenario that you're describing in terms of the other workers' behavior, in terms of this female who was acting like a man. If you step into a man's arena, if you get in my face and you hit me, I don't care about hitting you back. I don't care about what you are, because you have to learn something. Let's say if you punch me with 50% of your power, right? You punch me in the face. Okay, if I punch you back with 50% of my power, it might mean something different. And that's even amongst men. You know, you fight someone who's bigger or smaller, what are they doing? They're trying to knock you out. So, okay, so we're trying to knock each other out. Well, my knockout punch is going to be harder than your knockout punch. So you need to think about this before we even start doing this. It's just like if I say I want to wrestle a wolf and we're going to bite each other. Well, my teeth are pretty smooth. I only got 2 sharp teeth on the sides. You know, all of his are sharp. So if he says, yeah, let's bite each other, that would be kind of stupid of me to engage in that. So the same thing with a female. When a female falls on that disclaimer of decency that all men are supposed to have. Oh, he's decent, so he's not going to put his hands on me. He's not going to touch me because he's a good guy. You know, that's really an abuse. That's called emotional abuse. You know, they're abusing their position. Now, if he would have knocked out, it wouldn't have been an issue, man. He would have knocked her out. He would have knocked out. You put your hands on me, you know. So because what if she would have kicked him? She could have. I worked at a place once where a student kicked another worker in the genitals, man, and mashed his testicle. This guy has now to this day he's got 1 testicle because a female student kicked him in the groin. You know what I mean? So sometimes we look at it like, oh, it's just a light thing. It's just a woman. She's not really going to do it. You can get hurt. So anytime I'm in an environment that I can get hurt, I'm allowed to respond with any level of warrior energy that I have inside of me. And I know the disclaimer that I'm supposed to say now to be PC. I'm supposed to say, well, I'm not advocating hitting women now. I'm not advocating that. But I'm not advocating hitting women. But I'm also not advocating sitting in and allowing yourself to be someone's punching bag. That's just ridiculous. Male or female, child, whatever. People have to understand that, you know, they just can't violate your space like that. That's not fair. So, you know, as far as that, I guess I have mixed feelings. I'm not completely against. Now, him on some, come on, dude, let me do what I do. At that point that you're talking and reasoning, you're not really that upset. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different. Like if she kicked him, like if a woman came up to me and smacked me, I would probably hit her back because it's just my reflex. But if I'm thinking, if I'm to the point where I could say, whoa, why you smack me? Then she's not going to get hit because I'm reasoning. But yeah, my reflex may just go boom real quick. Like, oh man, I'm not going to feel bad because you smacked me. But you know, I would have preferred if I could have reasoned this out or maybe restrained you. Or again, I'll put you in a slow choke and then let you calm down and figure out what you want this to be. You know,
and that's exactly what I was telling them. I was like, if you're going to do what you're going to do, just don't brutalize her and do it quick because they are actually recording you. Like, just be a little bit more strategic.
If you have to do all of that, then don't touch her. When it comes to a point of strategy, and that's for any fight. If it's a, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a woman. You know what I mean? So it's not, I'm saying if something was guttural and reflexive and it's like, okay, oh man, I snapped, she smacked me or she pulled out a razor and I just flipped. From the moment you start doing all that strategizing, it needs to stop because at some point you're going to look and say, this is a female standing in front of me. You know what I mean? So what exactly am I going to, what lesson am I really going to teach her at this point? And her man is right here. So where is this really going to go? Is he really going to allow me to sit here and put hands on his woman? You know, it's just not really worth it, you know, at the end of the day. But we don't have to see. One of the things we got to be careful about is these bulk classifications. And, you know, I remember as a child, like the women in my family used to teach me about like how to treat a lady and stuff like that. And they would say like the little girls outside, treat them nice and pull their chair out for them and all that crap. And even back then I had certain senses inside of me where I was like, nah, that's not good information. You know, and I remember clearly being like 7, 8 years old and saying, you know, why do I have to treat the bad girls the same way I treat the good girls? I remember asking that question because there's certain girls in the class, they just bad. You know, they nasty, they rude, you know, they do this, they do that, you know, and then there's other girls that do their work. They do what they're supposed to do. Shouldn't they be treated differently than the other girls? But you get this bad advice a lot of times from our mothers and our aunties and our grandma, treat them like a lady. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. So it's really a slap in the face for the women out there who are doing the right thing. You know, because, you know, and that's what a lot of times embitters them. You know, so we get a beast, because this woman you talking about is a wild beast. So we get a wild beast like that. And then we say, no, man, that's a woman. You can't, that's not a woman. That's a wild freaking beast. And I'm not going to treat her the same way that someone who's putting the effort into being a woman or someone who's putting the effort into being a man is putting in. You get totally different treatment. You get what your hand calls for, you know, so it's kind of a weird scenario. And that's why, again, being in those environments it's not even a good idea if you have some sense of consciousness, because you're going to be put in unreasonable situations like that, you know, where you're going to have to challenge and question what it is that you stand for and what it is that your convictions are, you know. And so it's best just not to even be there. Now, I know, of course, you got to do what you got to do to you know, put the Fruit Loops on the table. But back to the thing about Oya, because I mean, this is what I'm saying about the culture. We can't sit here and talk about beasts for too long. You know what I mean? That's the thing about, if we're going to really live this culture, let's live this culture, you know. And some of this stuff has nothing to do with us. Oh, I was in the club and what? You was in the what? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we can't go to clubs, but you do know where you're at. You do know what they're drinking. You do know what the intention of that place is to keep you opiated so you don't come to any sense of consciousness. So, you know, we can't always apply all of our good information to unreasonable situations. Like somebody may ask me right now, okay, what does the Odu Ifa say about transsexuals? I don't know. I never read that. I never read any information in the Odu Ifa about transsexuals, because some of this stuff just does not apply to what it is that we're doing. Now, I'm sure I could piece together some information and say, well, this is how we deal with transsexuals. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is that in some of our traditions, we just won't find solutions to some of this stuff. Just like we desire to be so African sometimes, but Africans are not dealing with what we're dealing with. Continental Africans, you know, some of these situations you'll bring up and they'll look at you like, huh? What? A woman fighting in a,
y'all over there doing what?
Yeah, like fight. She kicked you in a what? You know, it would just be unfathomable. Yeah, men fight, but no, they couldn't even imagine. And you not holding back and smacking the hell out of her. That would be unfathomable. Like, no, wait, she put her hands on you. She hit you. So you hit her back. Mm-hmm. Done. Because or you tell her mother, really something like that back home, you grab her by the wrist and you take her home to her husband, or you take her to her mother, and you would put your case out and say, this is what just happened. Now, mothers here are ignorant. They're idiotic. You know what I mean? So this scenarios here that we're dealing with that are so far beyond our nature. You know, so that's I mean, like I said, I got mixed feelings on that. But you kick me, I'm giving you the slow choke. You going down slow. So the thing is, okay, we're going to break soon. So we're talking about invocations for Oya. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit of that information before we go into break, which we're going to into just a few seconds. Well, obviously, what you were involved in was an invocation to Oya. Okay, that wildness. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give more information, and we're gonna take a break real quick. And you can all call in at 347-945-7680. And when I come back, I'm gonna give some information on how to invoke Oya. Okay, you're listening to Chief Speaks on High Frequency Radio and Enlightenment and Transformation.
Take action and rise to the next stage of your evolution. Then monthly life coaching services at osirislife.com are just for you. Osiris Life does not just focus on spiritual development. We offer a holistic approach to helping you realize your goals and teach you the tools to overcome any barriers to your success. Services at Osiris Life are provided on a monthly basis and include, but are not limited to, spiritual consultations and one-on-one coaching, instructionals via podcasts and videos, life mapping and goal tracking, anonymity, spiritual work done on your behalf, and there are 3 package levels to choose from. Take the steps to get your life on track and flourishing by purchasing a subscription package today at osirislife.com. We invite you to share in the power of goodwill by becoming an ANU Nation sponsorship partner. ANU Nation is a community design organization whose programs and services often depend on sponsors and philanthropic support from foundations, businesses, and generous individuals like you. Our sponsorship program provides involvement by our affiliates in the 5 major markets, plus the impact of an international media campaign. By partnering with us, you join a powerful movement that supports thousands of people who find healing and personal growth and development with our help. For more information and to purchase a sponsorship package today, please visit us at anunation.org/anu/sponsor-us.
Okay. And we're back with more Chief Speaks on the High Frequency Radio Network, as well as Enlightenment and Transformation. I think we may be having some audio issues this morning. I'm hearing that people were not hearing anything over the break just now, but dead air. Who knows? But I can guarantee you the YouTube video is fine. Not that I'm bigging up Google and YouTube, but you know, it's always something with the Blog Talk, please. Peace. All right. But anyway, so yeah, we were talking about invocations for Oya. And like I said, it was a weird question the brother is presenting. I know he's still online. I got you here. And this reason I say weird scenario, because sometimes some of this stuff is just so unrelated to where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing, that we have to really think about the preventive culture that we put in place to not have to deal with certain things like this, to not be in certain environments. And obviously he's working. So it's like, well, I eat, you know, I gotta eat. So I have to do what I have to do. But sometimes, even through abdication, we have to look at how we sometimes transfer the responsibilities of what our life should look like to someone else. You know, it's kind of like you got certain like a power company, for instance. You know, sometimes you'll see them and they'll be turning off the heat and the lights in elders' homes. You know, and like people will say, "Hey, I'm just doing my job." Well, your job sucks then. If you're doing something like that to an elder, you know, you just can't defer the moral and the ethic responsibility to someone else. So even in a position like that, working a gig like that, you as being a different person who's practicing a different type of culture or coming into practicing a different type of culture, you have to pull back and say, does what I do the majority of my time, typically, which is our job, does it reflect my core values in nature? If not, I got to get out of here quick. You know, I got to do what I got to do to be in an environment where I'm not placed in scenarios and positions that are completely unreasonable. You know, you're in an environment where, I mean, in an environment like that, regularly, you're going to have women attacking, throwing drinks in your face, things like that. What am I supposed to do? What's the scenario there? You know, it's kind of like a person, if you're a man and you know you're violent, don't be around people who are comfortable with triggering that part of your nature. You know, we might say, I got to stop being like this. I got to suppress it. Maybe, or maybe you just need to be mindful of your culture, lifestyle, and the company that you keep. Maybe that's a bigger issue more than anything else. You know, so even working a gig like that and, you know, being surrounded with people who are inebriated and who are hyped up and, you know, having certain expectations when they go into a space, and a lot of times those expectations are not very peaceful. The only way around that is just to remove yourself from a disgusting and debaucherous environment. You know, some of these things that we should just not have to deal with. You know, very similar to just the respect sometimes, or the disrespect that we get from certain people at times. Sometimes we have to set up harder protocols in life. You know, and we have soft protocols and we have hard protocols. Soft protocols is this. I'll give you an example. A soft protocol is when you call in about a question, and I say, okay, when people call in, ask one question and get off the air. Now, nobody does that. They ignore it. They just keep talking and talk. And even while I'm talking, they talk over me, right? So the soft protocol is to ask them not to do that. The hard protocol is to take one question from them and then put them on mute. Now there's no getting around that now, you know, and then mark the number. So if they try to call back, you know who it is. Sometimes people do that too, you know. So the thing is, you got your soft protocols and your hard protocols, and then sometimes to maintain the proper culture and the proper setting, you have to set hard protocols around you, where people just can't violate the way they would like to violate. You won't allow it. You can't. I'm not letting you get that far in based on these hard protocols that I've established. It's like having a whiteboard. You may have a whiteboard that you write on, and let's say you tell people, hey, don't write so close to the edges on the wall, because every time you guys write close to the edge, you end up writing on the wall and it's hard to get the marker off. And they just keep ignoring you, as people typically like to do. So then what you may do is create a big wooden box frame around the whiteboard. So now when people write, it blocks them. They can't go onto the wall. You see, those are the hard protocols that sometimes that we have to establish in our lives in order just to live out our culture. We have to establish those hard protocols. You see, because sometimes we're in environments with perpetual line steppers. People will just keep going over and going over and going over and going over until they're blocked hard. You know, so like the situation with him, and he said, oh, this guy was going crazy. This camera's watching. Well, those cameras are not a hard enough protocol to get this guy from not doing something crazy. They're just a little light warning. Now, maybe if we put like a rope around his neck or a chain and shackled him up to the side of the building so he can't go too far off like a dog, that would be a hard enough protocol where he wouldn't go and attack people. You see? Now, working with Oya, man, it's in Grasping the Root of Divine Power. It's in my book. You want to work with Oya, pick up a copy of Grasping the Root of Divine Power. I got an Oya section in there. Also did a show on Oya Okay. You don't always need physical implements to work with any. Remember, all energies are inside of you. Oya is the air in your lungs. So any work that you want to do, is already right there. But I've detailed it in Grasping the Root of Divine Power. I've given you the herbs associated with her. I've given you the stones and the crystals associated with her, the colors associated with her, even people in our contemporary secular environment that are representations of Oya. I've given you that as well. So all the information you actually need, I've already put out there for you. Okay, so Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Pick up a copy today. All right. So yeah, I know it gets a little complex sometimes when we're in certain environments, and I hope that's a wake up call to the brother too. I know him, so I know what he's working on. He's working on getting himself out of that. So I'm not just talking to him. I'm talking to everybody. When we're in those unreasonable environments and unreasonable situations, man, there's a different call to protocol that we got to take on sometimes, just so we can be who and what we are. Sometimes you got to move away from people. Sometimes you got to move closer to people. But even in my environment, in my life, oftentimes people do things that are over the line, that are very disrespectful. And because of the protocols I maintain, it doesn't really affect me too much. Sometimes they try to get very disrespectful. Anytime you're an information bringer, like for instance, in that environment or in that situation that brother was in, he was light. He was the information. He's the one bringing truth, saying, "Look, man, there's a camera there. There's a woman there." So what happens is he ends up being resented by the person he was trying to help. Right? Well, isn't that so typical? Isn't that how it usually goes down? When you bring information or you try to help someone and bring some truth to the situation, they end up resenting you afterwards anyway. And sometimes you got to learn when to just shut up. Don't say anything. I'll give you an example. I was in a store yesterday and I was placing an order for something, and two women came in. Well, I was waiting to place my order, but it was like a really small space and it was packed. So I was kind of standing to the side as to give people room to get out of the door. And two women came in and they just cut me in line, right? So one of them was, you could tell she was living an alternative sex style, but she was one of those lesbians where it was like, you're not just a lesbian, but you're one of those angry, I gotta look like a dirty, angry man type lesbians, one of them. And then, where any man I look at, I'm gonna kind of give him a scowl, like, because a lot of times those are the ones you could tell who have been hurt. They've been molested, or they've been attacked somehow by a male. And that's their representation of what they have to take on in order to keep themselves protected. So they cut me in line, right? It was her and I guess her friend or whatever. And it's no big deal to me. I'm like, whatever, just, because I didn't even feel like speaking. I was in a space yesterday. I didn't feel like talking. So I said, man, I'm going to have to say I was here. And I just didn't have the energy to even say it. I was like, go ahead. I don't feel like talking. I got to talk to the person at the counter. And that's all the talking I want to do for the next 2 hours. So I thought about saying to them, just jokingly, hey, the next time you guys are somewhere and somebody cuts you in line, let them cut you, because you owe a cut now. You owe two, because I'll let you both get in front of me. And I was going to joke around and say that. And I said, you know what? Not the right time, not the right place. I can feel and sense the aggression and ignorance spilling off of these two. And if I say that, even jokingly, they're not going to understand what I mean by it. And they're going to go off and start acting stupid. And I have to look at them, and I'm looking at certain things they were doing. So I'm not giving the whole story, but there was just little things that they were doing to let me know that just their energy was kind of low. It was pretty base, some of the things they were saying. So I'm saying I'm coming with this higher energy of take my place. It's no big deal. It's all love. I'm joking. And they're going to perceive that as an insult to their ignorance. They're going to consider it as an affront to their foolishness. And they're going to get offended. And they're going to say something stupid back to me. And I had to check myself and say, well, how do I feel right now? I'm a little fatigued, a couple things going on. How am I really going to respond to what they're going to, which I know they're going to say? They're not going to understand that I'm joking with them. So sometimes we put ourselves in environments where it's just not, it can't accommodate who and what we are. So we have to start looking at the structure of our life and our lifestyles. And we have to see, this is when we get into that whole imaginary nobility that a lot of us take on, but we don't really look at the lifestyles that we lead. So we say, I'm king so-and-so, I'm queen so-and-so, I'm emperor so-and-so, I'm this and that, I'm chief this, that. I'll put myself in it, right? But then when we look at our lifestyle, does your lifestyle really reflect that? Because say in that environment, that wasn't an environment for a chief. I shouldn't be around anyone or anything where if I were to say something jokingly or lovingly, it's going to be perceived in a way where a person now feels the option and the opening to say something stupid back to me. See, if I'm in an environment like that, then something's wrong with me. I'm in the wrong environment. You see, because any environment that I step into, I should be respected the same way I am, on this phone line, for instance. And if that's not present, then I should not be in that environment. So me not saying anything to the young ladies, which again would have just been a joke, but I'm looking at them, and sometimes as we get older, we got to be honest. You look at somebody sitting there drooling over a counter and just, they're not going to understand what I'm saying. They can't chew gum and walk. So they're going to take whatever I say the wrong way. I already know that. And they're probably not going to have the words to articulate what it is that they want to say back. So it's going to either be emotional or it's going to be physical. And knowing me, I'm going to throw them both over the counter and walk out the door. So let them cut you in line and just shut up. Just do that. So I just did that and then looked around at the writing, and I read the little certificates on the wall and this, the business stuff on the wall. I said, let me occupy myself with reading. And there was a flyer on the wall for the Justice or Else March. So I just looked at the pictures on the flyer, and that's how I filled up the extra time that they took when they cut me in line. So what I'm saying is that, in reference even to the call, like some of this stuff that we go through, it's just not, I know you want to come to me for quick, and he wasn't asking for a solution in that situation. He was asking about, oh yeah. So I gave that answer. But some people sometimes want to come with, and they want quick solutions about, well, I'm in this situation, I'm in that situation. Don't be in those situations. That's the answer. Don't be in those situations. Like, he's being nicely pulled out of it because the guy was like, I don't work with you anymore. Great. Because obviously working with you, I'm going to end up either getting shot or thrown in jail. So you just did me a favor without me trying to have to figure out a way to say it to you. Perfect. This works out. So, but outside of that, sometimes in our lifestyles and sometimes in our movements, man, we're not looking at the environments that we put ourselves in that are just totally unreasonable and numbing to our spirits. They're just completely unreasonable. And we're putting unreasonable demands on our hearts. So like, again, if I was in that store and they would have been like, oh, F you, ma, F, da, da, da. So yeah, I cut you. So what? Because, you dress like a boy. So I know now you want to test your thing out, but you don't hit like a boy. So if you start acting up, it might go there. And I'm not looking at a woman in front of me. I'm looking at a boy. So you're going to get disciplined like a boy because that's the arena you want to be in. Don't try to act like a girl now when the cops show up. Like that guy at McDonald's. A lot of you probably have seen that video. He was in the McDonald's worker who was attacked by those two women and ended up beating the day. They jumped over the counter to get him. And he ended up beating the daylights out of both of them. Or the other famous one with the bus driver. You going to jail now? You going to jail now? Remember that one? The woman spit on him and then hit him, and then he got out of his seat and uppercut her. Gave her one of them civil rights. He said, "This one's for Rosa Parks." Boom, punched her to the back of the bus. And a lot of people were like, yeah, you shouldn't put his hand. Nah, put your hand. You spit on me and you hit me, and he was an elder. This is a 60-something-year-old man who was getting ready to retire. This is what you asked for. Anyway, we're gonna take another call. 773 area code. You're on Chief Speaks. if you feel like being on Chief Speaks. Peace. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing very well. I'm just calling in to say thank you very, very, very much to you and Sister Kim.
You're welcome.
For the extra help that you all gave me this week. Thank you so much.
For sure.
I'm doing well, like with flying colors. So, yep, and I just wanted to give y'all a big old thank you.
You know you're welcome.
And show my appreciation. Right. And to apologize to you, Chief, for my messages.
Well, you know, you do that like every 2 months.
Confusing messages.
Yeah, every 2 months you spaz out and send me messages that don't make sense. So I'm just kind of used to it. Don't worry about it. I usually wait after you send them. I'll wait a couple hours because usually in about an hour or two, then you send the. Oh no, disregard the last message. You do that every 2-3 months.
Or I figure out what I did wrong.
You do that every 2-3 months.
Was.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, but I'm doing so well.
Good.
Yep. And I'm really, really grateful.
I told you it was gonna work out. Told you it was gonna be all right.
It worked out very well.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. Oh, Sister Kim, I am okay. So I'm sitting here waiting with anticipation, like a child waiting for a toy for the my aloe vera juice, like for real. Because I stopped taking the medicine like last night. I said, well, I'm gonna see. Because I guess I got like some liquor courage, but it's like pain medication courage. Like, oh, I can do all this. And it ain't even hurting that bad.
Right.
No. So I'm taking it easy today. But so I'm waiting for that. And my surgery was a little longer than they expected. There were, Chief, you know the ritual that you gave me to do to bury stuff? And the number that I told you?
I remember.
Well, it was about 10 more on my number that I buried.
Okay.
And there were 33 fibroids removed. I thought there were only 3. There were 33 fibroids.
How many were inside the uterus? Did they tell you? Was there a good amount in there? Yeah. Okay.
I think there are a lot of small ones. So there were probably like about, I want to say maybe like 15. 2 of them, she left 2 in. Because she said 2 of them were on the artery.
Okay.
So,
Well,
she left 2 in. So now I'm just, I'm just looking at things like, okay, well, that just makes me have to just, stick with the lifestyle change and, diet and all of that and take, all the preventative measures and precautions.
Good thing we did that ritual.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. Very, very good thing. Yeah, so I'm really, really grateful for the extra help. But I had a visitor when I was in the hospital. One night, some stuff had happened and some drama, and then, I started getting paranoid about scar tissue and all kind of stuff. Oh, and I don't have a booty stomach either.
Oh, they gave you the bikini?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a blessing.
But I didn't get the booty one.
Okay.
But I some things went down, so I was in there. I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna turn on some Orisha music. So I had the Orisha music on. And it seemed like every time a song for you, y'all came on, it was like I had to just stand up, hold the pillow to my stomach, and do my little 2-step. And, I found myself that day, I got real, real emotional, and I just called out to, to the Iami, but called out to the ones who are in my bloodline,
right?
Saying like, look, y'all gotta help me, because I'm tripping. And so that night, I was in one of my, I guess, twilights from medication.
Okay.
And I got a visitor. There was a nurse that came in the room, and she looked just like my great grandmother. And she's over the bed doing stuff and checking my vitals or whatever. And she says to me, she said, look, she said, when you get out of here, she was like, you need to get a crystal star. She said, you need to get a quartz crystal star and a pearl. And she started showing me like this little box thing. I don't know what it was. It's like, it's the shape of it. It's almost like it's shaped like a pentagon, but not a pentagon because it's rounded, And she was like, you gotta put it in here, put it in something like this, and then you take this whole thing and you put it inside of like she told me, like a black leather, like medicine bag.
Right.
And she was like, you have to wear this around your waist. She's like, you have to wear it around your waist. So of course, when I woke up, I remembered it and I wrote it down. Like, okay, so like, all right, but that's what's up. So let's see. We're gonna see what happens.
Well, you already know what's gonna happen. I mean, you stripped away some things, and now you're being given a vision of two representations of children. I mean, the pearl is a child, and of course, the Irawo or the star. Yeah, those represent children.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
hey, that made me cry.
Yeah, and of course, the black leather pouch, that's the womb.
Right. Oh wow.
Come on, you figured all of that. This is light stuff. You
I mean, I'm just looking like quartz crystal star. I know star and pearl. The star is one of the symbols for Yuya, and then the pearl. They come out of the ocean. They come out of water. So that's what I was thinking.
Right. That's the children.
Obvious.
That's the children's with Yemoja, with those symbols represent the child aspect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what those symbols represented. That's what's up. So yeah, I'm definitely, when I'm able to get up out the bed and moving again, I'm gonna go find those things and hook myself up.
Good.
Oh yeah, but thank y'all again so much. Y'all are
you're more than welcome. Oh,
right.
Thank you. You're
I'll
more than
enjoy
welcome.
the rest of y'all's day.
All right, you too.
All right.
Rest up.
Take care.
Peace.
Right.
Get some rest.
I will.
All right. Okay, cool. Right. Yeah, good success story from the sister. She went through it. I wasn't going to say what the operation was, but she shared it. So we had a lot of operations this strong. I had also one last night that I had to support. And I stayed up all night working on that one. That one was a little rough, but he's gonna pull through. He's gonna do just fine. So this is the season for people cutting stuff out of them that don't need to be in them. And always remember, like, when you have those type of spiritual, emotional sicknesses, and somebody do me a favor. If you guys can hear me on high frequency, someone just let me know. Hit the number 1 on your phone, so I know that I can be heard over there. I know you guys been on for a while now, but for some reason, I have a feeling I'm not heard over there. I'm not sure. Or someone could just call into high frequency and tell me, yeah, I'm losing people. They're hanging up. I think I can't be heard over there, and people just waiting for the show to start. Their call in is 844-200-4449. All right. But just hit the number 1 if I can be heard over there. Always something funny with Blog Talk. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of removals, man. A lot of removals. And you got to always understand that when it comes to like those spiritual sicknesses, when things need to be removed or have hardened inside of you, like, fibroids or when we have stones and mineral buildups, it was something that didn't start off so hard. It was something usually that started off as mucus, and mucus is good because it cushions and protects us from certain things and carries things out of the body. But if we don't allow those things to be removed out of the body or removed out of the psyche or removed out of our emotional state, then what happens is, of course, they stay within us and they get hardened, you know? So this has been a very interesting season for purging, going back again to what the brother was referencing, the whole Oya conversation that we were having about things being purged out, you know, things being sent out. So 1 second. But yeah, anyway, oh, they can hear me. Okay, cool. They can hear me on. Just wanted to make sure on high frequency. So yeah, man, just very interesting time in terms of that purging and that clearing and, you know, getting things out of us that shouldn't be here so we can move on, you know. And once the sister comes out of this, she's going to be looking to create some children, obviously. So you qualified men, if you want to drop me a line, feel free to, you know. I had put it out there before a couple shows ago, maybe last year, about people who may be interested in finding a mate. And the response was underwhelming. People always ask me during readings and consultations, Chief, you know anybody? But then when I say it on the show, no, everybody is quiet as a, I don't want to say a church, quiet as a Catholic church, you know, at night, and the priest is going off on the nuns and the boys. But the thing is, you know, yeah, so she's looking for a mate, you know, she's in her mid-30s, little small thing, just come fresh off a brand new surgery. So everything is, you know, all of her parts have been tuned up and oiled and lubricated and reset and recalibrated. And she's ready to go out there and create create family. Like I told her, she got a vagina 3000 put in, you know, so she got the new model. You know, it's got the new model, and looking for a strong man to, you know, really build with. And sometimes it's a challenge with me. You know, a lot of times sisters ask me, like, do you know any brothers? And who really ever knows anyone, you know, if you're not in a community with them. So sometimes you're going to say, yeah, well, so-and-so, but you may not really have, like I said, if I've never sat down and eaten with you, I don't know you, you know? So that knowing thing is a little difficult. And so it's not like I'm, you know, I'm not trying to help you out and things like that, because, you know, I'm about family. But this is why we have to form some form of community collective with some kind of protocols, so that way we can get to know one another. And I can intelligently and confidently say, yeah, such and such would be great because he's this vibration and you're this vibration. That's one of the book ideas I have in terms of matching vibrations. I just haven't gotten too far in it yet. I've been so busy, but I've written out the structure and outline of it already. But yeah, so any brother who's sitting there saying, you know what, I wish I could get me a good spiritual conscious sister, you know, who's trying to do something, you know, and she ain't bad on the eyes either. You know, she thinks she's a lot cuter than what she actually is, but you know how that goes, you know, but she ain't bad on the eyes. She cleans up well, you know, but I'm messing with her, but yeah, so reach out if you're interested. Sometimes you just gotta put it out there straight. I know me be a little embarrassing, but we don't really have time to, you know, try to save face and try to have all of this meta dignity. That's unnecessary. All right, I'm gonna take a 323 call from high frequency. You're on Chief Speaks.
Hello.
Greetings.
Greetings. Oh my gosh. Hi, Chief.
How you doing?
Oh my goodness. I've been listening. I'm doing great. This is just, I feel so honored to be in the presence of greatness.
I'm honored.
I've been waiting for you all my life. Oh my gosh, you just define things so well.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I'm very excited. And whew, okay, I have a situation going on.
Okay.
My heart is beating. I come from a family of 7 girls, no brothers. A mother and father. My father is deceased. Mm-hmm. Recently, I went back to Maryland, and I had a gathering with all my sisters, and he treated me like total dirt. I realized that they've always treated me like this, and I have excommunicated myself from the family. Since then, I've got back into doing artistic things that was laying dormant for so long, because of the situations I had with my family. I just felt worthless. So I really never took up, my art. But since I have started making the transition from my family, I've discovered that my art is pretty good.
Okay.
And I just wanted to ask you, how can I become a better spiritual artist? I want to go into spiritual art. We're making sigils and, signs that create goodness in atmospheres.
Yeah. Spiritual art is tricky, and I'm gonna tell you why.
And you will be able to listen to the show.
Okay, I don't know what that.
Right. Please, I'm on the phone, honey. I'm sorry. That's my daughter.
Okay. I think I'm hearing an echo of myself. Yeah, let me try something.
Let me try some.
1 second, please.
Hello?
Yes, 1 second. Okay, can I be heard? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So what I was saying is that spiritual art can be very tricky, okay, in that you have to open yourself up to be a portal of sorts. Okay. And in opening yourself up to be that portal, okay, opening yourself up to be that portal between those different realms like that, you're going to take in some good stuff. You're going to take in some not so good stuff. So you the first thing you always want to start with when it comes to that is protection. That's got to be where you begin the journey at, because I've seen people get really, sadly, I've seen people really get really messed up behind that. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, one of the things you want to do is, as much as possible, stay away from, try to dive more into folklore and mythology, but stay away from other people's symbols, because you're going to find with spiritual art, what makes yours more valid and what makes yours more impacting to the people is the fact that it will be something that they have not seen before. So like, we don't need more Oshun pictures. We got enough. Certain things have just been, it's just been overdone. The Oshun pictures are like Barack Obama pictures at this point. It's like, all right, we've seen it from every angle. Okay. But you may find that there may be different forms, geometric figures, or different things that pop into your mind, or you may see yourself a lot of times in representations that are uncommon. I find with spiritual art, the most powerful and the most potent spiritual art that I've ever seen has been stuff that has been completely outside of the realms of what we've seen before through shape and figure, because it's coming straight from the spiritual realm. So I'll give you a good example. When you look at like Star Wars, right? You look at the characters in Star Wars. That George Lucas was channeling in the astral realms in order to come up with those figures. Now, of course, like he said, Yoda was supposed to be a form of Buddha. He tried to make Yoda look like a skinny Buddha, but then even just the green skin, which is the melanation and stuff like that. But he had to go into those other realms. So astral traveling is an excellent way, because you'll find your world through astral traveling. There may be a specific world for you. You see, and in that world, there's going to be different images, ideas, people who are going to show up, and they're going to say, hey, paint me, show the world what I look like, and that will happen through your astral travel. So that would be the greatest thing that you could do. Don't worry about what somebody says. Well, this symbol represents that. That symbol. Don't worry about it. Because when you go there, you're going to see those same things anyway. So you don't, because you're tapping into that space. But, you start sharing the people who live on that realm with the world. And that's when, because then that provides a portal for them to come through, which now empowers the art.
Oh, okay. Understood. Okay. And you inspired me to do that too. because I work a government job.
Okay.
And he said, well, you need to empower your space with, energy, your energy.
Right.
So I just started drawing pictures, and I started drawing symbols of happiness and love, peace, harmony. And it has actually changed my cubicle.
Of
but
course.
Like I said, I wanted to go more deeper into it. But thank you so much for that.
You're more
with
than
my
welcome.
family situation, did I do a good thing by just excommunicating myself? Because every time I left them, they always made me feel bad. And I just said, the last time I seen them, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going into my 48th year. I'm 47. But all my life, I've been trying to get some kind of connection from my family, and it's never been there. I never received the love, the appreciation, anything.
Well,
so I was just wondering, am I being selfish by doing that?
You could be. You might be being selfish, but there's a time for selfishness. Sometimes we have to pull back and be a little selfish in order to refortify ourselves. Then we could come back and say, okay, now I got something to give again. Because you might, some of us just have family that it's only about what we're gonna give. That's pretty much the basis of the relationship. So if we already know that, like, I have friends like that, where it's like, whenever they call, I know it's just for something. It's never, and if I can't call them for anything, it just doesn't go down like that. But that's just what the relationship is. That's just the basis of, and most of the time that's the basis of the relationship, because that's what we created in the very beginning. We did that to ourselves. It's like you got Superman, right? You got the Justice League, because you're young enough to remember cartoon Superman, right?
Yes.
And in the 80s, we had the Superman and the Justice League. And the thing about it was, like, all of the other characters pretty much, their powers didn't even compare to Superman's powers at all. So, like, if there was going to be some type of world disaster, if they might be like, okay, well, let's draw straws. Of course, like, Batman and Aquaman would look at him like, what are you trying to be funny? Go fly up there and go fix, stop the alien race from the invasion, because you're the only one who can really fly that fast and hard and get hit by a nuclear bomb and not explode. And come on, man, stop playing.
Yeah.
Aquaman would be like, look, man, I'm just in the water. It's like, what am I going to do? Throw a tidal wave up into the air, and you know what I mean? So it's like, he might get upset, like, that's why I don't like being around y'all, because y'all take advantage of me. And they're going to be like, well, you the one who took the Clark Kent costume on. You told us you should have said nothing about it. You know what I mean? So,
oh my goodness. Okay. That's exactly how it was. So,
you revealed yourself to be super. So now you gotta pay the price now. And that's why sometimes some of us, when we know stuff, as we get older, we sometimes purposely will do a bad job at something, or we'll hide our talents and skills, because we don't want people to ask us to do, oh, I didn't know you could paint. Shoot, you need to come to my house and do a mural. I've been wanting this mural. When you gonna come? And it's like, man, I never should have even showed that I had this talent. Now look.
Right.
So sometimes we'll begin to underperform purposely. We'll underperform just to not be in that environment. We don't want to reveal that we're actually Superman underneath the Clark Kent clothes,
Oh, yeah. That's how I feel. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Chief, my name is Brenda.
Right,
by the way, I'm sorry for not giving you the formalities.
It's okay.
Oh, nice to meet you too. But I wish you the best with everything. Tell the sisters I said hi, and
for sure.
Thank you again, and enjoy your day.
Oh, give thanks. You too, Sister Brenda. Take care. Peace.
Okay.
All right.
You too.
Cool.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, sometimes, I know family can be a headache, or friends. It's not always just your family. Sometimes we consider our friends our family, but, like I said, a lot of times, man, we do it to ourselves. We look at me, look at what I can do. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And then when they start to treat you as that super person, we get our feelings hurt. Because it's like, man, when do I ever get an opportunity to, not be so super? When do I get to take the cape off? And if you look at even the idea of Superman, Kal-El, Spirit of God, his real name, and then he becomes Clark Kent. Clark Kent is a total clumsy, awkward, uncoordinated doofus. So this is how the gods perceive humanity. You think about that for a second. Because Kal, or Superman, is supposed to represent, he's supposed to be Haru. That's what he is. But he's the Haru who has come into an understanding of Kundalini energy. That's what the S is. That's why when you watch the newest Superman with what's the guy from the Gladiator, the little short guy who all the girls like, Russell Crowe, where he played his father, and he was like, they were like, well, what does that S stand for on your chest? He was like, S, huh? He was like, this is a symbol of my family, but it wasn't an S. It didn't stand for super, because the S is the Kundalini energy. You know what I mean? So Superman represents that man who's able to touch the snake, is able to touch the Kundalini. That's why whenever he would get shot, you know, in the old Supermans back in the days, the black and whites, he would always stick his chest out and let the bullets bounce off his chest, because the bullets represented sperm. So that was the patriarchal idea. And he would get hit, and you know, the snake would bounce him off, you know. So yeah, you know, a lot of times we put ourselves out there in a certain way, and we get upset with the projection that we've put out into the world, because people are not as compassionate. They don't have as much oya as a lot of times we wish they would. They will just use us and use us and use us and use us until there is nothing left. And that's why you have to set hard protocols. We say, no, you can't do that to me. I'm not going to let that be our interaction, because I know the nature of people, and you won't respect what I need. You won't even try to accommodate what I need. You don't even care. So I have to care. I have to care enough about me to set certain protocols and boundaries, so that way I can preserve. All right, we're going to take a call from the 905 area code. 905, you're on Chief Speaks on High Frequency Radio and Enlightenment and Transformation.
Good afternoon, Chief and Sister Kim.
Good afternoon.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. Peace.
All right. All right, Chief. I'm going to ask the question, but I'm a bit worried about your response.
Okay, so I'll give you a fluff response, so that way you don't have to worry.
No, I actually, because every time okay, so vision. It's regarding the vision, and we already know how you kind of deal with me regarding those things. So I had a vision whereby I was in the house, which I heard your show the other day about house and what it represents. But it was like somebody rang the doorbell, a lady dressed in blue, and I had another lady. I wasn't sure who this person was, but she was in the house with me. It was as if I was in the kitchen and she was coming down the stairs to answer the door. And when she opened the door, she saw this lady in blue, and she was basically rebuking this lady, you know, leave from here, don't come here. And the lady that had rung the bell, her hands were behind her back, and as if she was hiding something, and she was just being rebuked by the person that came downstairs. Meanwhile, I'm in the kitchen and I'm kind of hiding to the side, but I'm overhearing the conversation, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up. So I really tried to look at it, and I know that the fear aspect is addressing. I think the fear aspect of me hiding is just me addressing some of the issues that's going on in my home right now. But as for what this person could possibly be hiding, or, you know, I don't know if it's harm that was coming my way. I'm trying to piece together, you know, the interaction between the two women. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay.
I'm a good listener.
Yeah, and that okay. And by the way, I couldn't hear the previous caller's conversation with you. So
yeah, somebody was saying there was some problem with the audio. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll work it out.
Okay. So yeah, that was my vision.
Okay. So two women came to your house and were arguing. And you were hiding in the corner.
They weren't. One was in the house and one
was at the doorway.
Outside the door.
And they were arguing, and you were in the hallway. I mean, you were hiding.
I was in the kitchen.
You were in the kitchen, but you were hiding. I'm saying you didn't come out and engage in the conversation.
After I realized it was a hostile kind of communication, I chose to hide away. I didn't want to confront the situation.
Right. Well, let's ask this question. Okay. What does this dream matter in the scheme of anything?
Well, it matters in the sense that I wanted to know why the stranger came and why the lady that was in the house felt that there was some danger as she was telling this person to leave and not enter. So in that respect.
That's not, you didn't answer that question. You just said it matters. And then you said in that respect at the end of it. Don't try to trick me. You didn't answer the question. What does it matter? Not the reason why you want to know, but how does it affect anything in your life? Right. So it has no bearing on anything that's going on in your life right now. And notice that your default is always fear, and someone's trying to hurt you or someone's trying to do something to you. That's always, whenever you call, that's always the first default that you go to. So obviously we now know that you're a person who's packed with fear. Okay. So a person who's packed with fear, what kind of dreams do you think you're going to have? But ones that are dealing with fear all the time. Somebody's always coming, trying to do something to you that you need to protect your home or your family from. So now that we know you've already had probably 1 million dreams like that, what have you done about it?
I guess nothing.
Okay, so there's no point in breaking down each dream, because each dream is just the same warning that keeps coming. And the warning may be real and it may be false. Like they say, fear is false evidence appearing real. You know, it could just be this fear that you have inside of you that's now creating these conjurations of all of these different scenarios where someone is trying to come and hurt you. And that may not even be the case. Not discrediting what you're feeling or not discrediting what you're dreaming, but you have to make a determination as to if, because remember what we spoke about, the house is you, correct? So if you know the house is you and you were in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And what did I tell you the kitchen is?
Nourishment. Okay. Alrighty.
Okay. And
so it's how well you.
And there was somebody on the outside saying something. The front door of your house represents your face. Okay, or as we call in the Yoruba, we call it the Iwaju, which is also the term we use for the first eye, the Ori Iwaju, which is the brow chakra. So someone is on the outside at the front door arguing with someone on the inside. So they're trying to bring something inside of the mind. Meanwhile, you're stuck in that place of nourishment. What are you feeding yourself? Well, we know you're feeding yourself fear. So now I'm supposed to say, oh, this was a dream about someone is going to come to your home soon and they're going to try to disrupt things. And what you need to do is a spiritual battle. And it's just fear on top of fear on top of fear on top of fear. And each one feeds the other. So you could actually break this down a little bit more. You know what I mean? You could break this down, and just in terms of like where you were in the house, the fact that you just, again, remember the house is you. Start from that perspective.
Yeah.
The fact that you were in the kitchen and you wouldn't come out of the kitchen. And the kitchen is the heart of it's the heart of the house. Okay, it's the heart of the house. That's the kitchen. So if you could imagine, okay, well, what is my heart? What does that represent? And why would I stay there and not go to the face? Am I not expressing outwardly how I feel about things, which would be what would be on the face of the house? Am I hiding what I feel inside of my heart? See, you could work this one out a little bit more. You have more information in there than you think you do. What you gonna ask me? What's the? Okay.
No, I'm just. Okay, that's good. Okay.
It is actually good. It. You're welcome. Take care.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. She gave a good response just now. She was about to say something and then she caught herself and she said, "No, you've actually said everything that you need to say. I need to process." That was a wise response, and that shows growth on her part. She caught herself and said, "No, you just told me I got a lot here that I didn't look at. So let me see." A lot of people would have just kept going. But what if somebody, they would have just ignored everything I just said. So, a lot of times we conjure up our own visions. You got to know the difference between a dream and a vision. What she's describing sounds like a dream, and that is propelled or stimulated by the things that are in our own heads. Okay. I'm going to take an 813 call. 813, you're on Chief Speaks.
Chief Steve, what's going on? This is Brother Anwar.
Hey, Anwar, how you doing, brother? I'm doing well.
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Enjoying the Sunday, man. Enjoying the Sunday.
For sure.
I just had one quick question. I've been studying Yoruba language, and we spoke on this previously. And I haven't looked yet, but on the internet. But I was hoping that maybe you could give me a reference to like a Yoruba language book, a translation book that you might recommend.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna give you the wrong name. I know I am.
Well, I'll, if you don't remember right now, I could send you my email. We'll go through there or whatever.
You know what? I'll put it in the comments of this video on YouTube. I'm gonna put it in the comments. I'm gonna put a link to it. Okay. I have the book. Cool. There's one that I like a lot. It even comes with a CD. If people still use CDs, but it comes with a CD. And it's a pretty good book. But I would also advise you to listen to King Sunny Ade. King Sunny Ade. He's a Sunny Ade. He's a singer. I learned a lot of my Yoruba through music, listening to the music. Because he sings about a lot of Orisha stuff, but he does it in a real secular type way. So it's not like Orisha music he does. He doesn't do Orisha music. But because it's so entwined in the culture, he ends up dropping, like he drops some gems in his music that you wouldn't even know, like some of the terms that we use, like that you can't find in books. If you listen to the song, you understand what that energy is about and whatnot. I also used to watch a lot of Nollywood movies, like before it was popular. I would watch a lot of those just to try to get the pronunciations right.
Nollywood.
Yeah. Watch those Nigerian films. Now it's cool. They're all over YouTube. So you don't even have to buy them. Back in the days, I used to have to buy the VHS tapes, but now you can just get them on YouTube. But that helps a lot. Yeah. But there is like 2 books I have. One in particular that is a good primer for the Yoruba language that I'll put the link to it in the video.
Cool. Yeah, man, you got me addicted to Sunrise.
Oh, Sunrise, yeah, that'll take you. He takes you there. He will take you there.
You got me addicted to him. I was listening to you on the show, and you mentioned that. And I drive around all day. I'm a process server. You know what I'm saying? So I drive around all day. So my main thing is usually trying to keep my mind focused on things. So I watch like YouTube videos, listen to some good music, and work throughout my day.
Beautiful.
So yeah, that was my main question. I had 2 comments. Right, cool. I know there's a lot of people on the line, so I'm gonna try to keep it quick.
All right, you know what? Let me get that. We're about to go into break, and as soon as we come back from the break, I'm gonna keep you on, and you can come in with that. How's that sound? All right,
cool.
So we're gonna take a break. We're on Chief Speaks on High Frequency Radio as well as Enlightenment and Transformation. Calling number is 347-945-7680. You can call either on the high frequency side. If you're there, or you can call Enlightenment Transformation. We're also broadcasting right now on YouTube as well. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Our new spiritual training phase 1 is currently available and is about ministry to self. So in addition to learning the foundations of indigenous spirituality, this class will provide you with tools and guidance on how you can empower and heal yourself. For more information and for a complete list of topics, please visit us at www.saduluhouse.com/store. Chief Yuya also performs spiritual readings and consultations via telephone and in person. For more information about how to schedule a spiritual consultation with Chief Yuya, please visit him at www.saduluhouse.com.
All right, we're back with more Chief Speaks on high frequency radio, as well as enlightenment and transformation. And I'm going to bring our brother Anwar back in so that he can share his comment that he wanted to share with us all. Okay, let's bring him back in. Okay, so brother Anwar, here you are. You're back on. All right.
What's going on? Greetings. Like I said, with this week and listening to all the shows this week, I'm gonna put all this stuff down in one comment this week quick. The beginning of the week started with Mastermind Monday, and we were speaking on confidence in business decisions. Sister Felicia said, Sister Kim said, the salmon had a story about the salmon. People being tuned into that, but it spoke on the subconscious moving into the conscious decision making. We had this energy as we were speaking this week with it. Energy being misplanted all over the place. And then we ended the week off with like a love. Like if you listen to your Friday show, all you were getting was love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, the interpretation this whole week has been make your decisions confidently, know yourself, making those decisions, be in love with that decision, and everything's going to turn out right, you know? So just to keep it quick, man, like my experiences this week has kind of been synchronized with it too. Like the 20-year sister that was on the show, the sister that was in the religion for 20 years.
Right.
That same day, I was doing a recording session with a young client. I've been working with him since we were like 16, like 26 now. And just to keep it quick, we had some computer problems, Ogun, you know what I'm saying? And then the session stopped for like 30 minutes. I recognized the man had his Alekis on. I didn't know that. And I asked him, do you know what you got on? He had no clue on what he was wearing. Nothing. So I quickly just dropped some information on that. And then all of a sudden, the studio just goes back up. Everything starts working. Boom. We're recording. But that was like from that sister, when she was talking about, she's been in the religion, you were telling her that she needs to start speaking, start using that information and helping people with it. And I was just thinking about that whole thing. Like sometimes stuff has to, the way the energy flows and misplants at a certain place is for somebody at that time. You just got to know, how to read it. And last thing, yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, that's it. That's pretty much that energy. And on Friday, man, look, I'm a single guy. I got 6 kids. I kind of focus on my sons right now. And for the someday on Friday, when you were getting all that love, I was getting a lot of love, man. I got numbers emailed to me. So, like I said, I think it's just being confident in our decision making and doing it with love, man. I really appreciate it. I just like synchronicity. Thank you. O'Shea.
Peace. Thank you, Brother Anwar. I just wanted to make it add something to what Anwar was saying, the last caller, and it kind of goes with the theme of Last Strong with the shows as well. I think, even from the first caller that we had, the issue that we're dealing with, as usual, is culture. And like Anwar was just saying about having inner wisdom, and even with the caller beforehand that was having issues with fear, I don't think we really understand that when we enter a certain world, like if we're in a world of fear, or if we're in the world of, whatever your occupation is, if you're a bouncer or, whatever it may be, you subject yourself to the laws and the rules of that world and of the culture of that world. And so certain situations are going to come up. And if you're not really familiar with that world or that culture, you're just going to find yourself in some situations that you may not be ready for. I'll give a quick example. A few years ago, as you all know, I have a chemistry background, but I used to be a drug chemist for the state. So I used to work for a crime lab. And so that world to me, that was like a world that I had never been a part of. That just opened my situations up to so many crazy things, for a person that's never even had a traffic ticket or been to court for anything. I found myself now having to go to court for certain cases, to testify in certain things. So I'm opened up now to this world of going to court, drugs, criminal, all this kind of stuff. And it was just a world that, one, I did not want to be a part of. And then I had to really just ask myself, how far do I plan on going with this career, or do I really want to exist in this world? Because these are some norms and some laws and things that I'm just not used to. And I'm just, and I noticed that once I entered that world, all these situations started coming to me that had something to do with that. I think, after that, I got my first ticket, and I had to go to court, and I got out of the ticket, but I was just like, gosh, I never had to deal with some of this stuff. It just opened me up to a lot of things that, one, I was not ready for, prepared for, and that I just had no knowledge of. So when Chief always talks about culture or trying to mix cultures like that, like if I was in that situation, then I'm like, okay, well, let me work with a goon or something. It's like, how is this going to work? Because I subjected myself to the laws and norms of that particular world. So, I'm out of place. This is not where I should be. So I had to, eventually I did leave that, because I just knew, like, this is just not a fit for me. So I think a lot of times when we have these issues or these problems, we don't realize that, hey, okay, I'm in a world of fear right now. This is the world I've created for myself. I'm fearful of a lot of things. So every dream that I have, every situation that I have, it's going to either test my feelings about fear, or it's going all the issues that pop up in my life are going to be surrounded with this issue of fear that I have. So, and just like Sister Felicia was saying earlier about using inner wisdom and that inner voice, now your inner voice and your inner wisdom is going to be off, because you're in this world of fear. So, I think we really have to just look at ourselves and make some really hard decisions, like what culture are we going to be a part of? I remember once kind of looking at my life where, it's almost like a video game, like Mario Brothers, it's like go into the water world, and now all the rules and things are subject to water and the principles of water. So now you have to readjust and deal with water. So it's almost like if I leave my house, my house is my house. I set the environment here. But once I leave out of that door and I cross another threshold, say if I'm walking into a bank, once I cross that threshold of a bank, I have to adhere to the laws and norms of the bank world. You know what I mean? And if I'm not familiar with that world, I'm going to have a difficult time. If I try to impose the laws of the culture and the norms of my house in the bank, that's not going to work because they're not the same thing. So I think a lot of problems that we have or that we may face it has to do with the fact that we just haven't accepted a culture for ourselves, because the culture that I practice, that I'm in now, is like, that is how I'm dealing with all my life situations, period. So if someone comes to me, they're going to have to step into my world. I'm not stepping outside of my culture and outside of my norms to accommodate someone else. So I think that's like that. Most of the advice that Chief gives us, that's the perspective we're coming from. But I just wanted to add that. So now I see we have a call from the 804 area code.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I had a quick question, and I wanted to see if either of you could interpret a couple of dreams or one dream. I know time is short, so that I've had recently that I've had trouble kind of deciphering. So is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the first dream, I felt the presence of, I didn't see anyone, obviously, but I felt the presence of someone with me, and we were walking sort of in a wooded, sort of marshy area. Mm-hmm. And I see this house that is it's like a brick house. The door framing is kind of, the paint is chipping. It's a small house too. And we walk up to the door, we knock, and I think a white man comes out with glasses and says, "No, you got the wrong house." And so then he points off, I would say, he's facing me, he points off to his left, my right. And so I look over, and in the middle of, nowhere, there's a house which I didn't see before. There's this green, sort of, it doesn't look like a house you would see. It's kind of contemporary style. So it's green, and it's also yellow, the house. And it's kind of paneled as well. So anyway, we go to that house. It doesn't seem to have a basement or anything. It's just like out of the ground. So we go inside, or someone lets us inside. And we see some people working on some things inside the house. There's no real conversation. It's almost like we just walk in and, we're there. And, we see some people working on things in the house, maybe hanging a painting or something like that. And there's no conversation or anything, but there's like an acknowledgement that we're there, kind of. So that's kind of the communication. And then all of a sudden it transitions, and we're like at this ball inside that same house. So I remember seeing this, specifically there's a woman in red that kind of pops up in my dreams sometimes. She's there. And then I remember there's a pool, and the pool is covered with like maybe a glass, or maybe it's not glass, but it feels like glass to me. And I walk on the water or walk on the pool, and there are like little toys and things underneath and all that little floating objects. And then it transitions again, and then I'm in CVS. I buy something, and there's a group of young ladies, too young for me, obviously, but they think I'm an attractive man. I kind of walk out. I hear them, as I'm walking or leaving the store. And then I kind of leave out of the store, and, how some shopping centers have those archways, and then people can kind of sit and eat. So it's kind of like a cafe style type of situation where they have chairs and seating. I pass by some gentlemen who I feel familiar with, but I don't know them. We don't even actually talk. And one of them is actually making tea. It's a type of, we used to call it in Senegal, we called it a taya. It's like some tea with mint. And so I sit down and I pull out of my bag a corn tortilla and like a bunch of mint. And I begin to put the mint in the tortilla, and then I wake up. So that's my first dream. Should I give you the second dream, or how does that work? Am I even still on? Hello? Hello? Are you all there? It looks like I'm still on. It looks like I'm still on. It looks like I'm still on. I can hear it. 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 Oh, I can hear it. Hi. Ogun, huh? Chief, I can barely hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear. Okay.
Okay. Yours is very faint. I don't know if the broadcast is that way, but I can hardly hear you.
So I'm going to let Sister Kim take over, and I'll fix mine.
Can you hear me? Are you there?
I can hear you. I couldn't hear him for some reason.
Okay, I think we both got cut out some kind of way.
Okay.
Hey, can you give us just a second?
Sure.
What's going on with the audio? Go ahead with your second dream while we try to work this out.
Okay, so the second dream is I'm in this, I guess I'm sort of in an advisory role, at least it feels that way. And I'm in this large sort of building, almost like a museum, very sterile, white walls and things of that nature. And I go to the roof of this large building, and there's like a log cabin on the roof. And this house is empty as well. It's vacant. As a matter of fact, it's almost as if someone lived there and then they left, they just left everything in place, left everything a mess. And I'm showing this house to someone to suggest that they should live there. And I tell them that a woman used to live there, an old woman used to live there, but she no longer lives there. And this is like a one-room cabin, like a one-bedroom. It's small, again, a small house. Anyway, I leave and I go back down, and I see this gentleman that I saw before. And I forgot to mention that, but it didn't really have context. I see this gentleman he's wearing a purple shirt, like a button-up. And he's leaning over on like a cot, and he's attending to his daughter. So it triggers in my mind, oh, let me go check on my daughter, who hasn't been born yet, as a matter of fact. So anyway, I go start looking for her, and there's like this sea of people. There are couches everywhere, and this large, sterile museum type of place. There are all these families. Somehow, out of all of these people, I'm looking around. It doesn't take me long, and I see my daughter and my wife, who isn't really my wife, because my wife is dark skinned. This is a light skinned woman. So anyway, but I call her my wife's name for some reason. So I go and I see my daughter for the first time. She has teeth, and like my wife, again, who's not my wife, tells my daughter, "There's your daddy," and my daughter lights up. And she has red skin, by the way. My daughter in this dream has red skin. She lights up. And she said, "This is your daddy." And I say, "Baba." And she said, "Baba." And then I say, "Wow." I pick her up. And then they say, "What do you want to name her?" I say, "Kaka." And I don't know where that came from. And then all of a sudden, the woman who was my wife in the dream turns to this man who is sitting behind on a couch that's kind of behind our couch and says, "Well, what name do you think we should name her?" He says, "Kari." I said, "What?" Like I'm upset at that point. Like, why are you asking him what we should name our daughter? Well, I thought the name that I gave was okay. And then I wake up. So that's the second dream.
Okay. I don't know if Chief can still be heard or not. I'll go ahead and try to answer some of your questions. First, I wanted to ask is if you saw, if you heard the show on Friday, A House Is Not a Home. Did you
I did not.
Get a chance to?
I didn't hear it.
Okay. Well, I'd suggest that you listen to that show, because in that show, Chief was telling us that these, a house kind of represents your life. and how you see your life. And so when we're saying that we need to get our house in order, then we're really saying that we need to get our life in order. Now, to me, both dreams seem like they're kind of connected. In the first dream, and what I mean by that is in that first dream, it kind of meant like you're trying to recover your own mind, trying to get in your right mind about whatever situation you're dealing with now. To me, it sounds like there's maybe some issues around just reclaiming or setting some rules down for you. Like maybe you have some, like you said, issues or something maybe with your wife. Because in the second dream, you said that you went to, the house was bare. There's just white walls, but you went all the way to the top floor and there was a log cabin. So something that was in the attic, or that represents that highest spiritual knowing. Like our crown chakra, you even mentioned like a man in a purple shirt. And usually our crown chakra is sometimes represented as being purple. So you were saying that it was one that used to live there, an old woman. And that, did you say she wasn't there anymore?
Yeah, she left. Right. It was rumored that she left, yes.
Okay, so it wasn't you, but it was an old woman. So to me, it's like, why is like a maybe some a matriarch, maybe an elder in your family, kind of maybe kind of shaped your culture a little bit. But the fact that she left kind of represents, and then you were there or had knowledge of that, means that she's trying to get you to come into being like the head of your own house, or the priest, the high priest, so to speak, of your own home, especially of that area, that crown chakra. And you were saying like even the woman that you were with, you were saying she's your wife, but she's not your wife, and it has something to do with your daughter. Maybe you're at odds with, like I said, just establishing rules, and you just reclaiming your household, being the head of your household, and establishing whatever culture or spirituality that you see fit for your child. Like you said, you gave your child a name that you thought was fitting, but something in you is saying like, maybe it's not, I don't know, maybe I should take a suggestion from somebody else. And that's not what this is about. This is about you, like Chief was saying about the house representing our life. You claim your house. The old woman has left, so she's passing the baton to you. She's left, so now it's time for you to move into that space and reclaim your house. And like you said, the walls were white, they were bare, so you have to, I guess, kind of decorate those walls or fill the house. So, yeah, that's kind of what I got. But, of course, your insight will tell you a little bit more because you're in the situation, not me. But that's kind of what I got for it. But, yeah, go back and listen to that show on Thursday. Friday. Friday's Foundational Friday. You can catch it on the YouTube channel. And that'll give you tons of insight on just even what each room in the house represents. But yeah, definitely that attic meant, and the fact that that there was a log house on the top floor, or on, above the attic of the house, to me kind of like, why would something so earthy be at the crown of the head? Usually that's where the root chakra is, when we deal with these deep earth energies. So to me, again, that kind of signifies that maybe, what you're standing on now isn't, like I said, is not what your life is. You gotta establish that culture and those rules and those norms for yourself, for yourself and your daughter, and your wife or your mate or your spouse has got to come along with that. So maybe there's some conflict there, or just nothing has been set. And even the fact that, you said that your daughter had teeth, she had all her teeth, so that represents that she's getting older as well. So maybe this is something telling you that you need to in place by the time she reaches a more mature age. Like, you need to get this done now. Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Okay, so we've got about 6 minutes left for the show, and then we'll be going into archives. We're still having some audio issues, so I'm going to go ahead and close out. Thank you all for calling in for Chief Speak This Strong. Again, make sure you go back and check the show out on Friday. That was like a really, really, really heavy show. And it may take a few times to listen to it and to try to understand what's being said. But it is a really, really good show. And like I said, it's really important because a lot of us have dreams about houses. Every time there's always like a house in a dream. So even the caller before Anwar, she was in a house as well. So we keep having these dreams about houses. So definitely check that show out. There was a ton of information in it. I also want to urge you all to sign up for the Magic of Alchemy, the Spiritual Gifts of Alchemy. Excuse me, keep getting these names mixed up. The Spiritual Gifts of Alchemy, which is a webinar I'm going to be hosting on the 11th of November. And it's really kind of like almost like a conclusion to the first two webinars. First one was on herbs. The second was on oils. Now we're going to talk about alchemy. So we're going to figure out how we can incorporate everything we've learned from the first two webinars into alchemy, and just even, understand what alchemy is. So this is going to be a really good one as well. I'm really excited about it. You can go to anunation.org/events and register for that webinar now. And soon you'll be hearing the commercials and some of the advertisements for it. So make sure you check that out. But again, I would just like to thank you all for tuning in to Strong for Chief Speak, and have a wonderful, wonderful strong. And by the way, we say strong because I don't know if many people notice this, that Chief doesn't say weak, he says strong. And it's because of the word. You don't want to say, have a good week, because it's weak. So we always say strong. So again, that's shaping our culture, shaping our world. Just kind of watch the language that we use. So you'll always hear us say last strong or last strong in instead of weak. So if you're just wondering, I don't know, that just popped in my head, but that's what that is. So have a great, strong, productive one, and really think about your culture. That's what I want to leave you all with. Just go ahead and start making some hard decisions, especially for our children. They really need to know, they need to have some kind of structure, because like she says, the dominating culture, which is American culture, is always going to be shinier and more attractive. So you've definitely got to establish some kind of culture for your family and for your children, so that you can set up some type of legacy for your children, that they'll know that what we have is best. This is what we do. This is what they do. And, again, when they're in another culture, a foreign culture, one that they're not really knowledgeable of, they're going to be subject to the laws and norms of that culture. So justice and all these other things that we cry about a lot are going to fall into the norms of those customs of that culture. So we really almost have no right to complain, because that's the culture you signed up for. So you need to get familiar with the laws and the ways of that culture. The only way to not have to do that is to set up your own, and to move with the culture and the norms of your own rules that you set. So again, thank you. Last time, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all next Strong. Peace.
60 seconds.